I am Matt, and this is Pandemic Fall of Rome. It's the latest entry in the survival series of games. We had Pandemic Iberia and Pandemic Rising Tide. Similar mechanics to Pandemic that you know and love, but in different historical contexts. So now, we're Rome. We are trying to defend our empire from this oncoming barbarian horde. We've got the Anglo-Saxons and Franks, the Vandals, the Huns, the Visigoths, and the Ostrogoths. Rome's here. You will lose if Rome is sacked. You will also lose if you run out of player cards here, if you cannot place a colored cube, which would be one of the barbarian hordes, or if your decline marker reaches the last spot. You will win if you've managed to forge an alliance with all 5 tribes, or anybody who you don't have an alliance with is not present in any cities, so you've managed to wipe them out. If you've played Pandemic, a lot of the mechanics will be very familiar to you, but the game does a really good job of bringing that barbarian advancing horde theme to the front. So we are joining the game here. It's the start of round 3. Things aren't bad, but things aren't great. We've expanded with some additional forts in Philippopolis and Mediolanum, in addition to the place we had in Rome, and have quite a few Roman legions here on the ground. And there are 2 player pawns here, the consul and the praefectus classis. You've got your different colored cards here, the number needed to forge an alliance with that tribe, anywhere from 3 to 5 depending on the color. You've also got some event cards. You can use these at any time. However, a lot of the events in Fall of Rome have this corrupt effect as well. Things are really bad and I need to remove up to 4 barbarians of any color from the board. I can do that. I just need to decline civilization by 1 step. It's not that bad. We've got plenty more steps to go. It's a really powerful effect, but you always have the choice. Do I use the base effect or do I use the corrupt effect? It adds an interesting wrinkle to the game. The consul here, he can just add a legion to any city with a fort. He can also just add a legion to where he is, so he's got some nice versatility. Instead of treating disease cubes, you're going to bring your legions and battle these cubes. So this guy here, the consul, is going to march, 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 because we have quite a horde up here. Last action there will be to go ahead and battle them. So he will roll up to 3 dice, 1 for every legionnaire he has, and then do what it says. So these dice are pretty simple. You'll remove 2 barbarian cubes and 1 legion. I'm going to go ahead and remove 2 of the grays, and my legion goes back to the supply. Move 1 barbarian cube and 1 legion. I'll remove an orange and lose a legion. And then this will trigger my special ability. Every roll has a different special ability. Most are good, some are actually bad because they're just very bad at fighting. The consuls happens to be add 1 legion to your city. Unlike treating disease where you just know you can go ahead and give these people this medicine, you're never sure if you're going to wipe out those barbarians, even if you brought a whole bunch of legionnaires. So it makes it a little bit risky and throws in a little bit of uncertainty. So my 4 actions are done. The consul is going to draw some cards here, still respecting the same 7 card limit that you have in standard Pandemic. I've now got 3 of the 5 white cards I need, also 3 more over there. And then invade cities. So we will go to the current invasion rate, which is 2. Philippopolis is drawn and it's a green. Each of these cards here has a path showing where the invasion is going to happen. So it's going to start at the city. If there's already a green cube there, it will get another one. There is not any green cubes. You'll move to the previous spot. In this case, it's where they spawn from, and 1 will move into this city. Since the city has legionnaires, it's going to remove a legionnaire and remove the cube that was just added. You gotta be careful though. If you have legionnaires that are not backed by a fort or a player pawn, they will be ambushed by the barbarians and every legionnaire there will die. You'll still kill the 1 cube, but I would lose as many legions as I left there. Philippopolis has a fort, so we only lose the 1. And the second card we draw is Rome. There are 5 different Rome cards, 1 for each color. The whites will attempt to move to Rome following the arrows here. They can't come from here, can't come from here. They can come from here. So I'll go from the supply, add 1 here. The legionnaire gets rid of it, but also dies himself. So not so bad. We added no effective cubes, we just lost some of our troops that turn. You need to keep Rome defended because if Rome is sacked, sacked is the term instead of an outbreak. So if I have 3 cubes of a color and I would add a 4th, the city is sacked. The cubes, as you're used to, move out to all the adjacent cities, and you decline your civilization by 1 level. Recruit, you will get the number of legions showing on the recruitment track here, which is still 3, pretty good. So, the consul's turn. He's going to go ahead and take the Forge Alliance action. However, he needs to be in a city with a cube of that tribe to forge an alliance. You can't forge an alliance without someone there to talk to. So he's going to need to move twice to Nerona, spend an action to spend all 5 cards, and forge our first alliance with the Visigoths. There is no eradication for the barbarian tribes. The Visigoths will continue to sweep towards Rome. They can continue to sack cities and continue to cause us a ton of problems. You also don't automatically defeat them when you're in battle. What you can do, though, when you're allied, you can move to a city with cubes of an allied tribe, in this case the Visigoths, and you can discard a card of their color to replace all barbarians in that city with friendly legionaries. So that's the advantage to having your alliance. You're able to generate legionaries in more places of the board than just these forts. Also advances your win condition, but it's definitely not easy. They're always creeping closer. They're leaving these little cubes all over the board. You're always just a step or two behind the hordes here, getting past your troops and now advancing on Rome. You're running back to try and stop them. You're burning cards to take the sail action to get to a port city back behind where they flanked you. Really gives you that theme, and the temptation to use those corrupt events always present, and that just advances you towards one of the other ways to lose. It does a great job of covering that fall of Rome sort of scenario, and another great entry in the Pandemic Survival series. So check it out. It's coming out later this year. It's Pandemic Fall of Rome. If you're a Pandemic fan, a history fan, it's going to be right up your alley.